AITA for not giving up my airplane seat for a mom who refused to book seats together. I recently had a situation on a flight from New York to Los Angeles that's been bothering me. And I'm unsure if I did the right thing. So I thought I'd ask here for some perspective. I, 28F, had booked my flight months in advance, and when I checked in, I was assigned a window seat, which I was really happy about. I love window seats, they make flying so much more comfortable for me, especially on long flights. I usually prefer a solo trip where I can just relax, watch a movie, and have my own space. The flight was fully booked, so I knew the plane was going to be packed, but I wasn't concerned because I had secured the seat I wanted. When I boarded and was getting settled, everything seemed normal. Then, a mother, probably in her mid-30s, walked down the aisle with her son, who looked about 5 years old. As soon as she saw me sitting in my window seat, she approached me and immediately asked if I'd be willing to switch seats with her so she could sit with her son. She said, "I'm traveling alone with my son, and I need to sit next to him. Can you please move?" I politely told her that I was really comfortable in my seat and that I had booked it months ago. I didn't think it was unreasonable to expect to sit in the seat I had paid for. She seemed taken aback, and I could tell she was frustrated. I really didn't want to cause any more conflict, so I added, "I'm sorry, but I'm not able to move." That's when she got a bit louder, raising her voice in front of other passengers. She said, "Seriously? You're not going to help a mother with her child? You're just going to make him sit alone?" I felt uncomfortable, but I stuck to my position. I calmly explained, "I understand your situation, but I'm not responsible for your seating arrangements. I didn't make the mistake of booking separate seats." I think that's what upset her the most. She seemed to think that because she was traveling with a child, I should automatically want to help. But that wasn't the case. I didn't feel like it was my problem that she hadn't booked her tickets properly. I know that airlines sometimes sell budget tickets where you don't get to choose your seats. But that's something she had to deal with when booking. It wasn't fair for her to demand that I give up my seat when I had no obligation to do so. She walked away in frustration. And I thought that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. A few minutes later, the flight attendants came over to my seat. The mother had complained to them about me, saying I was being rude and not helping her with her situation. The attendants asked me if I would be willing to move, and I calmly explained that I had already given my reasons. I told them I was comfortable where I was, and I wasn't going to switch seats. The flight attendants were understanding and said they would try to find a solution, but they didn't pressure me further. It turned out that the mother and her son were seated in separate rows for the flight. I could tell she wasn't happy about it. But I also knew that it wasn't my responsibility to make up for her mistake. Honestly, I felt bad for the child, but at the same time, it wasn't my fault that she hadn't planned things out properly. I didn't owe it to her to give up my seat for her to fix her problem. The rest of the flight was uneventful. I kept to myself, trying to enjoy the journey, and the mother didn't approach me again. I couldn't help but wonder if I was too harsh. Should I have moved to make her flight more comfortable? I know I didn't owe her anything, but I also recognized that she was in a tough spot. Still, I felt I was within my rights to keep my seat. I've been thinking a lot about it since then, and I'm torn. I'm not sure if I did the right thing. I didn't want to let her take advantage of me. But maybe I could have been more compassionate. I guess part of me wonders if I could have made her situation easier without losing anything in the process. So Reddit, AITA? Comment 1. NTA. You paid for your seat just like everyone else. It's not your responsibility to fix someone else's mistake, especially when they decided to book a budget ticket and didn't plan accordingly. You were polite and firm, and the flight attendants were able to handle the situation without putting pressure on you. If she couldn't book seats together, that's on her. You don't owe her anything. Comment 2. YTA. I understand your point about paying for the seat and having every right to sit where you want. But think about it from the mother's perspective. She's traveling alone with a young child, and it's not easy. It would have cost you nothing to switch seats. And you would have made her life a lot easier. Sometimes it's about being kind and helping others, especially when they're in a tough situation. It wouldn't have hurt you to move for a few hours.